Good afternoon, everyone. We are here at Community Artists Collective's Exhibition and Studio 2021. Welcome to our second Entrepreneurship Workshop Series. We would like to thank our sponsors today, HEB, Texas Commission on the Arts, Houston Arts Alliance, the City of Houston, IMS Engineers, Barnes and Associates, Lineberger Law Firm, Gail P. Mallory Designs, and SRT Management Services. Today we have a very special engagement for you. Our wonderful executive director, Michelle Barnes, will be interviewing our visual artist who is allowing us to take a journey with her into her professional skill set as an artist. And she will share her journey from an emerging artist to a professional artist along the Entrepreneurship Workshop Series. And we'd like to introduce Ms. Gail P. Mallory. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Gail.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you too.
And welcome, audience. Gail, let's start with a description of your background that's led you to a professional career.
Well, I would say that I actually started in art very young, coloring in coloring books with my cousin. She was an excellent shader. And from there, I learned how to color in maybe like the first or second grade. We would use graph paper. And the whole idea was she was trying to teach us how to stay in the lines with the graph paper. We could create any design that we wanted as long as we stayed in the lines. So a lot of it looked like a lot of mosaics, using just basic red, blue, yellow, green crayons. And that's how I got started in art, just as a young child, just coloring.
Did you outline the shape and then fill in from there?
Right, so a lot of it was more like diagonal shapes, starting from the corners of the graph paper and coming in, and then you would just change the colors in each little block. And really you can kind of see that it originated from one of my first pieces down here.
I noticed that, it was pixelated. Mm-hmm. So where are you from?
I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. And I lived in the South for like the last 10 years. I used to live in New Mexico, moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and then finally here in Houston, Texas.
And what about your formal educational background?
I attended Purdue University as a computer graphics, multimedia development type of student. I taught college for a month in Poland. We taught graphic design courses. And I finished out getting my master's degree at Prairie View.
Oh. So how long have you been in Texas now?
I've been in Texas for 9 years, and I absolutely love Texas.
So glad that you landed in Texas. So in terms of your creative journey, shows, what have been the important steps that have been taken, the significant steps that have been taken, as you recall?
Well, actually, I was invited to Pancakes and Booze, which is like an annual type of art event here in Houston, Texas. And I met Sean artists who introduced me to other people in the art industry in Houston. And so he invited me to join, to apply for a contest to Texas Southern, had the citywide, and that was my very first time as an adult putting my artwork on display as a group in Texas, and so that's how it all started.
And how do you feel about the value of exhibitions and the differences between exhibitions and competitions?
Well, exhibitions are it's less stress to me because most of the time you're showing your artwork with other people instead of it just being a contest where you're trying to win prize money, which it did offer some prizes, but it's still an opportunity for you to get your artwork out into the public so people can know who you are and see what you do, and what you do is different. So that's the difference that I see in a lot of it. Being in an exhibition is just putting your artwork on display.
introduction from Sean Artist to this other opportunity and other opportunities, that networking seems to be so valuable. That person-to-person relationship in the artist community. Right. Have you found that so?
Yes, it's very important to have a connection with other artists in your area, wherever you live, because everybody has a different set of skills. And so you might have a person who is very good at speaking, you might have another person that's good at putting your artwork, hanging it, teaching you how to hang it, teaching you how to frame it, teaching you how to present it to the public. So it's very important to learn about the people in your area that can bring you into the art community and teach you how to be a presenter of your arts, and also they share opportunities with each other. And it's just very important to have a community of friends in the art industry.
And Houston is well known for being collaborative and open and helpful. Exactly. As an artistic community. Yes. The moment when you realized that you were going to be a professional artist, when did that happen? Was that while you were in college or before you got to college or since then?
Oh, actually, in 2017 when I was in Citywide, and I presented 2 pieces of artwork. And the first week that they were on display, both pieces sold. And fantastic. At that time, I kind of felt like my artwork wasn't good enough. I struggle with that a lot, even today. Sometimes I kind of struggle with that. But when someone actually saw beauty in what I created and they paid the price that I set, then I knew that I had an opportunity to become an artist and be a professional artist.
So before that event, your plan with your formal training as a graphic artist was to do what?
Initially, I wanted to do the graphics for like news channels. That was what I really wanted to do.
I see.
And at the time when I graduated from college, because I wasn't a traditional student, you had to work on but you had to do internships. And I wasn't able to do internships because I was a single parent. And a lot of those opportunities came from people who did internships. So initially, I wanted to be the person who did all the third, I forget the word, but when your name is going on and all the flashiness that goes on with presentation on a news channel.
On the news channel, yeah. Broadcast channel. Yeah. So describe for us the kinds of media that you prefer to work in.
I prefer now to work in embroidery thread. I think that embroidery thread gives the artwork a whole nother dimension. It's not like working with acrylics, because I initially started working with paints and mixing colors, but threads kind of give it a 3-dimensional appeal that is not like art, not like paint. Yeah, so that's what I love now in embroidery thread.
These are some wonderful examples of that work with embroidery thread. It may appear from the audience viewpoint that it is paint, but it's actual thread.
Yes.
Embroidery floss.
Yes.
So describe your process, please. Do you draw first, plan the composition and the colors, and then just apply, or how do you approach it?
Yes, so initially I draw, and I have a design book where I draw a lot of these images, and sometimes they're not together. Oftentimes I might just draw one face and then the others come after. And a lot of times it's just straight pencil and no color. So a lot of these start out being just a straight pencil drawing with none of the extra colors added. And a lot of times I change the colors as I'm working, because to me, the embroidery thread and the process kind of tells me what colors to use. And I might start out thinking I wanted to have an all blue face, and then the thread says differently. So my process changes as I create.
Favorite color?
I don't have a favorite color. I thought I did. A lot of people think that, ask me all the time, what is your favorite color? And When I was younger, I used to be all black and brown clothing person. I didn't have any colored clothes. And when I started doing this art, I realized that the color is what makes it so beautiful, and it attracts people because it's not monotone. It has many colors. And it's almost being a colorist, like you just know how to put the right colors together, and also using the color wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's a very important tool.
Yes.
I've also seen your photographs. So are you still interested in photography? Does that play into the work that with your embroidery thread?
Well, actually, when I had my first exhibit last year, I had a lot of photography from when I went to Africa, and I visited Ghana and Togo and Benin. And I took lots of photography of the children, of the scenery, and yes, I still love taking photography, but it's not like the forefront of what I'm doing right now. I had to, since COVID happened, I kind of had to switch gears and spend more time with graphic design and trying to promote my art, because it's a source of income for me at this time.
Of course.
Yes.
Well, it's so interesting. The photographs are literal, colorful nonetheless, beautiful compositions. These are more abstract, stylized faces using bold colors. I see a connection because they both photographically and graphically describe the human figure. But these are just so tied directly to Africa. And it's interesting that you started photographing in Ghana. I'm wondering where the textile process came from. What was the inspiration for that?
Well, actually, I created my first piece in 2016 before I went to Africa. And when I arrived in Africa, we were in a market, and I actually saw people selling this same type of design, but they use silk thread in Africa.
Wow.
And what I have since learned is this style of art originated in Ghana.
Wow.
So
and you had no idea?
I had no idea, and I was totally at awe and fascinated and wanted to learn more. So when I returned to Africa, you know, when things become safe, I really would like to talk to an actual artist who's creating it to get the history behind it. And it also just shows how the energy flows from within our people, that we recreate items and not really understand where that creativity is coming from.
That inspirational impulse.
Right, and it is, all of this is actually kind of connected to Africa, the mask, because I'm fascinated with African masks, and I try to put that in different pieces in different ways. And also, as you can see, the noses and lips are representative of something that I struggled with as a young girl, because that wasn't considered beautiful. So I take things that are considered not beautiful and put them into a beautiful aesthetic as my artwork. And now the lips are beautiful to me, and my nose is beautiful, and everything about me is beautiful, and I appreciate it more.
Yes, of course. You know, there's been a lot of discussion over the last 30 years that the collective has been evolving among artists who are straddling a line between fine art and the commercial aspect. Mm-hmm. They're producing work, but not necessarily to sell. It's an expression of who they are, and frankly, they think that to focus on selling their work is almost sacrilegious. It's a secondary aspect. Mm-hmm. But for most people, it's important to be able to produce the work and live off the proceeds of the work. Exactly. How do you balance those considerations?
When you first start out, your goal is just to create art. I agree with that, especially if it's not the focus of your main income, which at the time when I was doing this, it wasn't. But then when it becomes the focus of how I live every day, then you kind of shift your focus into how can I make this into income, and how can I not make it be just about money, but also make it be about my creativity.
You never want to lose
You
that
don't want-
authenticity.
Yeah, you don't want to lose it. And I can see where some people might feel that they don't want to put these high dollar prices on their artwork, but then still you want the regular person to be able to afford it. So sometimes you might have to create pieces that are just for beauty, things you want to give away to your friends and family, then you have another portion that you will use for selling, like one-of-a-kind pieces or something like that. So you can kind of balance it out. So everything isn't for sale, but some things are. So as an artist, you have to come to terms with how you're going to deliver your artwork to the public.
You have such a vast array of skills, Gail. You know, we've seen you on social media. You handle that very well. You do marketing generally very well with your graphic skills. So what would you say is your primary strength and focus to be successful as an entrepreneur?
As an entrepreneur, I think connecting with the people who follow you is probably one of my main goals right now, is making people feel comfortable with who I am as a person and showing them myself daily. So every day as an entrepreneur is very important to connect with the people who you think are interested in what you're doing, and then learning what they need so that you can provide that as part of the items that you're selling, the services that you sell. So I do services, and I also provide items or merchandise that a lot of people like to purchase.
Let's talk about those services, those artistic services.
Yeah, so number one, a lot of people these days are wanting logos. And then I can also take your logo and then turn it into embroidery so that you can put it on your hats, on your shirts, your jackets, or whatever. And then you can then have items to sell in bulk to your customers. So I also provide that service. I also help people with consulting. People call and ask questions about how to set up their social media site pages or their Instagram feeds and what looks better and how to take pictures. And so I provide consulting to those who ask me. So I provide different services, and I'm learning now, even as I'm talking, how to create packages for people in different situations. So everybody doesn't need a logo, but they might need help photographing.
Right.
So everybody needs something different. And in my case, I kind of can flow between graphic design, product photography, creating art, note cards, or giving people ideas, so I can kind of stay in my creative zone, although I am an artist and I want to sell items too. So it's kind of like a mix between the two.
It sounds like a very interesting mix. Any anecdotal memories about your first attempt to prepare a marketing plan for an upcoming event?
Yes. So when I was, my first exhibition, I was trying to figure out how to promote for myself, because that was part of one of our responsibilities, is to put out information. And so I started out trying to make these videos of myself, telling people to come to my event. And I don't like photographing myself, even as a photographer. And I struggled like smiling and talking. So it's like, for me, I think trying to sell myself is probably the hardest thing. I can show you this box and I can do a lot of special tricks with this, but when I started talking and trying to show myself, I think that was like the biggest struggle for me as an artist.
You're still struggling, or you've gotten over the hump and now
I'm working through it. I still have days when I just don't like the way I appear on camera, but as I do it more, the practicing and the talking, being here today is helping me to find courage. And a lot of artists are shy and introverts, and that's just who we are naturally. And but if you want to sell and you want people to see you, you want yourself out there, you have to do this. And so yes, I still struggle with it. I often find myself being nervous, but what's good about having social media is there's nobody else there with you. So you can record yourself, cut it off, record yourself, cut it off, delete it. You know, you can keep doing it until you're satisfied with how it turns out.
Mm-hmm. Do you have mentors in your life who've helped you along your path?
Yes, I have had some mentors. I've had Sean, artist. I had Dominic, who helped me a lot. I have other artists, Farah, who helps me. We're all artists, but we're all doing something totally different. And so we call on each other and say, what do you think about this? I actually have Farah help me set up my link tree because I had no idea how to do that. And then I talked to other artists, like Savon. We talk about putting our artwork out and not putting it out before we're ready. So it's like I have different people, but not like mentors, but we kind of mentor each other on the same level. As emerging artists and as professional artists.
One of the wonderful things about formal education is that you do have the feedback in those critique sessions with your peers, your cohort in college. But after graduation, if you don't have that community, you need to find that community in order to get, as you're describing, that feedback and that encouragement and those suggestions about what to do better.
Right.
Collaborations. The artists that you mentioned are in your peer group experientially and in terms of media, I would suggest. But you have done some projects that thrive on the relationship, the collaborative spirit of working with other artists, and that's one of the things that certainly appeals to us at the collective, because we are cooperative and collaborative in our nature. Mm-hmm. Why don't you describe some of the projects that you're working on and have done in the past collaboratively with other artists?
Okay, so for Black Friday, I created this box, which it's the Black Love box, which meant everything that goes into the box is made for people of color. And I wanted to bring together a lot of different artists that I know in the community and have all of their pieces, or some put in each box differently. All the boxes are not the same. So I have artwork from someone, I have t-shirts from a gentleman that I met on social media, and I actually recorded some videos for him. And so I bring all these people together to create the Black Love box. And did you want to see what
Let's look at some of them.
So
each one is unique.
Yes, each
internally.
Box, yes, each box is different. We have artwork, prints from Farah. She's the art rebel on Instagram. These are art note cards that is actually this artwork here that I had printed on the cards. It's a mask I make, an embroidered mask, and we have
that's machine embroidered.
This is machine embroidered. This is another. This is this piece of artwork here on a tote bag. Looks like this bag's all mine. Oh, there's a T-shirt from Benjamin in here, a Black Girl Magic T-shirt. That he created and designed himself.
Benjamin Buggs,
who is also on Instagram as a working artist. And yeah, that's all that's in that box. And there's a brooch in there as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all the boxes are different, but they tend to share one thing that's common is I wanted to collaborate with other people in the community. So Savon Butler, who is also ceramics, is really her first love. And she had a piece.
She's local?
Yeah, she's local in Houston. And she created an art piece that she never showed anyone. But I went to her studio and I'm like, I have got to turn this into thread. And she was like, okay, yeah, I will let you turn this into thread. So I actually printed out 37 sheets of paper to recreate her artwork on a canvas that's like maybe 36 by 50, I think. It's a very huge piece of artwork, and I'm now working through tracing all these sections to start with the threading. So
wow.
So that's my second collaboration.
So is she helping to attach the thread?
No. I work alone. I work alone.
Vertically or horizontally?
Well, right now it's hanging on my wall.
Okay.
But once I start working, I'll of course lay it down. Okay. Yeah.
So there are boundaries to the collaboration. Everybody doesn't do everything.
Right. So I have this thing about collaborating. I don't have a problem working with people. We can be in the same room, but working on the piece together at once is not something that I have done before. But
Not like a mural.
yeah, it's not like a mural.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people I find really don't have the patience to do this. You really have to have patience to do it. And I know people have tried to do this because they've sent me photographs of them trying to do this. And I'm like, I don't see how you do this. I'm like, it's so relaxing to me. Yeah. So I really just love working with people and trying to put our artwork out as a community together,
Right.
to collaborate, because everybody has something different. Everybody does something different. And so I also want to work on some ceramics because I've never made any ceramics. So that is something she'll have to show me how to do because I don't know, but I do have some ideas of things I want to incorporate with threads. So I kind of want to do some ceramics and threads together on a canvas, and that's something I've been trying to figure out how I want to do that.
So as an entrepreneur, what is your greatest joy? What is it that you like the best about what you're doing?
Being my own manager, managing my own work, being responsible for myself, because in this field, you're responsible for what you put out and if you can get anything in. And so it shows you the whole sphere of being in a business. So if I want to sell this art, I have to show it. I have to present it in different ways. I have to market to people that are interested in this type of artwork. So you're basically doing all aspects of a business, and that's what brings me joy, to know that I can do it, because at first I felt like I cannot do this. This is so hard.
Earlier you were talking about being responsive to the people who find you on social media. Do you find that it's a certain age bracket that you're addressing through social media, or is there a range of ages and interests?
I was very surprised. It is a range. I thought maybe it would be people that were maybe like 20 to 30, but I'm finding when I look at my insights that it's ranging. Like, I have a lot more men than I thought I would have. And I have a lot more people in their 40s and 50s than I thought I would have. It's a wide range. I have 20-year-olds that's purchasing my items. So I think I'm appealing to a lot of different people based on the items that I'm selling. Because I know a lot of people love the blue jean jackets that I have designed and put those patches on. A lot of people love the patches. Then a lot of people love the cards. Like, people like to still write handwritten cards. So I'm appealing to a wide range of people. So I don't have a particular group that I'm actually marketing to anymore. I thought I did, but it's not true.
And the way that you're working, the various media that you're working in, really does keep you busy. Tell me about how you manage the time, your time. That is such a skill.
Yes, it is. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I'm really managing it as well as I should be. I try to work, like normally I would be working right now if I was at home. So I check my orders. If I don't have orders, then I'm working on the business side, which is entering receipts. So I spend a considerable amount of time on the business organization, trying to make sure that I'm keeping up with adding receipts, making sure everything is balancing out, making sure customers are satisfied, replying to customers. So a lot of it is back-end work.
Shipping?
And shipping, I do all my own shipping, making sure the packaging looks the same for every order that goes out, because that's part of your presentation and your marketing. Because when people open up the black bag and you have a wrap on your items, you have your name there, then they can immediately show it on Instagram. So you're always thinking about, when somebody receives something, can they show this when they're doing an open package? A lot of people love to do that. And showing it on social media. So I invite them to show it. I give them words to use or hashtags to use when they show my product. I often give away a lot of free stuff to invite new customers. So I'm always...
And repeat customers.
Yes, and repeat customers, because I'm always thinking about how to keep people in tune with what I'm doing and wanting to come back and maybe ask me, can you create this? Or have you ever thought about doing this? And I'll try it. You never know.
Keeping up with the accounting, the taxes, annually, quarterly?
Annually. This year will be my first time having to do the taxes, to pay taxes on my business, because I officially became an LLC last year. So now I'm getting into my 6 months of being a real business, and I'm having to fill out documents, which is another reason why it's important to keep up with your receipts and learning all the things that you can use for writing off, business write-offs and different things like that. So having this as a business is very challenging, it's difficult, but it is rewarding at the same time.
Are accountants and lawyers on your team, or are you teaching yourself the legalities and the financial aspects?
I do have an accountant, I do not have a lawyer, and I am teaching myself by doing a lot of reading, watching a lot of videos about how to run your business properly. I've actually just finished a Facebook group that talked to how to create your own marketing and how to know your numbers. Because at first I had no idea how much money I was really making or how much money I was actually losing because I didn't have the documents set up properly. So at this moment, I am still learning how to properly run my business so that I'm not causing myself any legal issues, especially with not paying the right amount of money, because you have money coming from PayPal, you have money, people cash apping you, you have money coming from all these different directions, and now I understand why people only use credit cards or they only use one cash app tool, social media tool. So you have to really sit down and think about, how you want to receive your funds.
And understand the cost associated with doing business,
Right.
creating a budget.
Right, a lot of those apps charge you to release your money.
Fees.
Yes, a lot of fees. I have a lot of fees, and so I have to also calculate the fees that I'm being charged on the money that I earn, because I'm not receiving all
100%.
Yeah, I'm not receiving 100% of money, so that also affects your pricing. Like shipping, I can't really, on some of my items, I can't really put shipping in the initial invoice because I'm making your product.
Right.
So then I have to send another invoice to pay for the shipping, even though I do have an account with UPS. It's just a lot you have to consider when you are getting into business and you have many streams of income, which I do. I have art, I have my boxes, I have a whole custom embroidery company that I'm trying to get up and going, so it's all different, it's not the same.
Just so many questions about the structure of the business, because it doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like the different aspects have to be different businesses. They're all under your business umbrella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they're different aspects
Yes.
of the business.
Yes.
It's all under one name.
It's under Gail P Designs, but I have different products that I provide or services that I provide. So yeah, it's one umbrella with many different services underneath.
A relationship with a gallery to handle some of your art, maybe the photographs, maybe the thread art. Is that an important aspect? Is that something you're aspiring to do at this point?
Well, I have considered it. However, that can be a little, for me, it can be a little pricey. I have reached out to some galleries before, and you will have to increase the price of your artwork in order to receive a return equivalent to what you want to receive for what you create. And then you also have to think about, will the people who see it, how often will they buy? So it's like you have to weigh out the pros and cons of, if that's something you would want to do. At this time, I think about it, but I'm not real sure if I can afford to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you were, well, I won't say if you were able to, but if you, would you want someone to assist? And if so, what would the role of that assistant be?
Yes, I would love to have someone. And the role, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it because for the last 2 years, I've been my only person.
Uh-huh.
So we
Maybe
would have,
something that you enjoy less, but you understand needs to be done.
I enjoy less entering receipts. Anything that has to do with the money accounting part of it, I just don't really like doing it because I understand it, but not a lot.
So there may be some college students who are studying finance or accounting or taxes or all of it, and they might be a good candidate to be a partner in this enterprise.
Yes, that would be an excellent candidate.
All
Somebody
right.
who loves numbers and counting and making sure everything balances out. I would love to have you because that is one thing I just don't have time to do. The creative side, I'm all over it. I love doing it. But when it comes to bringing in the receipts and making sure everything is entered properly, yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm putting it out there.
Let's put it out there. Are there steps that you can suggest that an artist needs to take in order to be successful as an entrepreneur? You know, artists often don't think of themselves as entrepreneurs. They're artists. But artists are producing products and services, so.
I would say the first thing they should do is know who they are. And that's something I can honestly say I didn't know when I first started. I didn't know who I was as an artist. I didn't know what am I doing? Like, I thought I was just doing this for fun. Like, just being comfortable in your own skin about what you're doing and being able to discuss it and talk about your art with people. That's the most important thing because you can get out here and start changing up your style to fit into this group of people or that group of people. So number one is to just be comfortable in your own skin about who you are as a person. The next thing is, like she just said, like all these helpers and assistants, find you some people to help you.
Create community.
Yeah, create a community, find you people who, the things that you need that you can't do yourself, find someone else that needs that, and they might need something you do, and then you can barter amongst each other to help each other grow and become stronger, and then you can build a whole community by just doing that. So number one, know who you are, build a community. Number three, I would say write out who you are, write out your resume or your letter about who you are, where you came from, how your art got started. Your biography, and take a nice headshot of yourself so when you start putting your artwork out there, you'll already have your bio set up, you'll have your photograph, and then you can start promoting yourself as an artist.
Great advice.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we have any questions from our audience. Okay. And how are we doing on time? Okay. Gail, have we touched on all the things that you want to share with the audience, or are there some things you'd like to add at this point?
Well, number one, I want to tell people who are but you are an artist and you want to be in museums and you want to be in galleries. I think the thing that really helped me most is volunteering. Volunteering in a community like a Community Artists Collective. I'm sure they have opportunities.
We do have opportunities.
You have the Houston Arts Alliance where I volunteered to learn more about how their programs work. Anything that you want to do, whatever it is, even if you just go and help children at the Children's Museum, like in the art setting, or at the Museum of Fine Arts art setting. Like, all these places have opportunities for you to learn more about art and how it runs and who to talk to and find out, ask questions. So just get involved. And a lot of people, I didn't know that, and I was kind of like thrown in there. But now that I'm meeting people, I just want to help. And helping will get you connected to the very people that can give you the advice you need, or they might know someone that is looking for something that you're doing, or someone might see you or might talk to you. You can go to events, just immerse yourself in the creative atmosphere wherever you live in the world. It's the best thing that you can ever do. And it's really helped me. I mean, emotionally, it will help you as well, because last year I was really struggling, emotionally, and when I started getting myself back into art and making things, it just went away, because you take your attention away from yourself and you put it on making something, creating something, and then the beauty on the inside, it just starts coming out and you start finding value in yourself. So I think just paying attention to who you are as a person is probably the best thing you can do, and then joining other people in your community, because you never know who's looking for you.
Well said, Gail. Thank you so much for all that you're doing artistically. It's a benefit to the community.
Okay, we have a question.
All right.
Is Gail interested in training? Yes, I am. Yes, I'm interested in training. I guess whatever training, we will have to see if I'm able to train you. But was that a question from the audience?
I think,
Okay.
Gail, you have so much to share through your experiences in developing your career, the lessons that you've learned along the way. All that's valuable information. And so I'm hoping that you'll be working with us over time to offer workshops like this and in other forms to help people as they're journeying along their path.
Yes, I will be happy to help in any way I can in my community, because I love art and I love seeing other people's art and creativity in action.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us today, and please stay tuned for more to come. We want to thank again our sponsors of this entrepreneurial workshop, and hope to see you again soon. Shannon?
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. That was an incredible workshop series featuring Gail P. Mallory and the Executive Director of Community Artists Collective, Michelle Barnes. This is an incredible opportunity for you, the artists, and the audience to share and learn what artists experience who have come through and joined with the collective. It's going to be another workshop series in about a month and a half. We'll post the dates on the website. You can reach us at www.thecollective.org. And again, we'd like to thank our wonderful sponsors for making this possible. HEB, the Houston Arts Alliance, Texas Commission on the Arts, the City of Houston, Barnes & Associates, EMS Engineers, Lineberger Law Firm, Gail P. Mallory Designs, the artist, thank you, and SRT Management Services. I'm Shannon Teasley McNichols, and I'm the consultant, the Fund Development Consultant at The Collective. We wish you well and have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us.